Well, hello, everybody. This is your host, Meagan Pinkney, for another episode of the Joseph's Ministry podcast. I hope all is well. I am enjoying preparing these videos for you all. Again, this is a new process for me and our company, but I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too, that you're coming along this journey with me and my team as we put these videos out there. But it's fun to go back and look at what was said. Obviously I said it, but it's fun to look at the sound bites and the little clips and things like that from these segments. I know they're short, sweet, but hopefully they're full of wisdom and some nuggets that'll help you along your entrepreneur journey, because I've learned so much. Y'all, I'm telling you, I say this often, but I am like a for real entrepreneur, and it's nothing that a formula per se that I followed. It is literally a lot of the things that I have learned along the way has been trial and error. Has been learning from other people's mistakes and things like that. So I want to make sure that I give you the real and the raw, so that you don't make some of the same mistakes that I've made. Again, being on this journey for over 10 years, is the time has flown by, but I've learned so much. Not even just being a businesswoman, but also being an author. And some of that is what I want to share with you today in the next couple of episodes. Being an author actually started my entrepreneur journey. And I may have mentioned this in our very first episode, but how I became an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, is because I became an author first. I tell people all the time, I'm an author first. Before anything, we can talk business, we can talk whatever, but I am an author first. We can talk publishing and coaching, but at the end of the day, my know-how came because of being an author. So I'm going to start talking about that today. I'm going to talk about what it looks like and what it means to be a 3D author. Okay. That's not something, that you can Google, I guess, or, put a formula in. But this is something that I created to kind of describe my journey as being an author, okay? Being a 3D author. And today I want to talk about the first D, but let's talk about those who are listening to this podcast and you say, hey, you know what? I don't know about being a business owner. I'm still learning the ropes and doing my research on what I want to do. But, I may want to write a book one day, right? I want to write down my life story. I want to write a children's book. I want to write a fictional book, whatever the case may be. This is where my journey started, literally. And I could not have planned it. I could not have wrote the vision and made it plain. None of that. It really started with the idea and the desire and the nudge to become an author first. And I'm so glad I said yes to that prompting, because we wouldn't be here today. Okay. So I want you who are out there listening, if you're like, you know what, I think I may want to write a book, but I'm not sure where to start. I'll talk about that for sure. But today I want to talk about those who say, you know what, yes, it's me. I've already started writing my book. I've already started the publishing process. I just finished publishing my book. I'm on my 5th book, whatever the case may be. But those who are like, you know what, I've written a book, now what? What do I do now? Or, there's so many avenues we could talk about with being an author, and it will look different for different people. It's not a cookie cutter type situation. So it really just depends on the nature of the book, who you're targeting, what's the targeted audience and things like that. But today, what does it look like to be a 3D author? For me, the first D I want to talk about is being highly dedicated. D, dedicated. Okay. Highly dedicated. What does that look like? Dedicated. I did not know all of the ups and downs and twists and turns that just saying yes to being an author would take me on. this roller coaster ride in life. Okay. The word dedicated, when you just Google it, simply means wholly committed to something. So I said yes to becoming an author, but I had to stay committed to that process. Okay. So now in real life, I'm a published author, Amazon #1 best-selling author, Reader's Choice Award winner, author of 6 books, 6 and counting. Okay, 6 books. So let's just go back to before it was 0 books. I just had a desire. Okay, when I said yes to writing my first book, Waiting While You Wait, I had to commit to the process. I had to be wholly committed to the process because I didn't know that some days I would get discouraged. I didn't know, people, which is weird, but I didn't know that people were really going to read it. You write books so people can't read your books. Okay, don't just write books so you can say you've written a book and put it on your shelf. Okay, so you want to expect that people are going to actually read your book. Okay, and specifically for those individuals who are writing about your life, that's a whole nother level, because you may have, depending on your story, you may have some things that maybe you're not proud of right now, or, you have walked through something, you got delivered from it, or, whatever the case may be, but you want to be transparent. You want to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, because that's what's going to set people free. Okay, you don't want to sugarcoat it. You don't want to tell your saved version of your testimony. If you're going to tell it, just go ahead and tell it. Okay, so I didn't know that people was really going to read it, and they were going to go give me feedback. So I had to be committed to the process. Once I put it out there, it's going to be out there, and it's out there forever. Okay, you can't, it's like an email. You can't unsend it. Once you read something, you can't unread it, kind of deal. So you got to be prepared for that. And nobody told me this when I was going through the process of writing a book, my first book. So many opportunities, so many doors open for me just by saying yes to that book. I always tell people, especially my coaching clients, that you always have to know your why. Why am I writing this book? Who is the book for? Okay. Who is the target audience? Okay. Why am I writing this book? Because that's important. My example that I was going to share, throughout my yes and my dedication to the process of being an author, an opportunity came up for me to have a book tour at military bases. And you may be thinking, why military bases? Well, I'll explain. I knew someone that called me, and they told me, hey, I'm an author. I have an opportunity to go on a book tour to military bases. And in my mind, and there was, they were just telling me just to tell me, but in my mind, I'm like, that's odd. That's odd. Why would they go to military bases to sell books? But that's none of my business. They didn't ask me. Okay. So they were just telling me about it. The person was telling me about them going on a book tour. They were like, yeah, I've never done this before. I'm a little short on funds. So can you pray, literally, can you pray that, some funds open up, more or less? And I said, absolutely. So I prayed, I was praying for them. And then the desire came to me to sow a seed. Okay. Sow a seed into this person's book tour. So as I was doing that, I didn't tell them, I just sent the seed, and didn't tell them, literally not looking for anything in return, just really being obedient. Fast forward several years, all of a sudden, I say yes to being an author, wrote my first book, and I had an opportunity to connect with someone that had a connection with military bases. I think not. So I too had an opportunity to have a book tour for my books at various military bases. Now, it is not odd that I had this opportunity, because I had already sowed a seed. My seed went before me. And I didn't even know I needed this opportunity when I sowed the seed, because I thought it was odd. Okay. But I was being obedient. Okay. So I said yes to one book. Now I have an opportunity to go on a book tour at various military bases. Why am I telling you this story? I'll tell you in a minute. Okay. We're talking about being highly dedicated, wholly committed to the process. Okay. So I'm at this book tour. I'm not really a salesy person. I don't do the used car salesman pitch. I tried. I tried to do this. I tried to listen to a colleague of mine, and they were just saying, hey, say this when you get there. Say this, this, and this, and this, and, they'll come. Well, I said this, this, and this, and this, and they didn't come. That wasn't natural to me. Anyway, I prayed and I was like, look, Holy Spirit, what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm here for a week. How am I going to sell some books? Because at the time, I'm on this entrepreneur journey, like no 9 to 5. This is all I got. Okay. So I need to start making some money. So my whole goal was to go there to sell books to get money. Point blank and period. That's it. Get some money. Okay, I'm selling books, so I need to get this thing real quick to say and learn my little pitch, and that's it. Okay, so I prayed and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna be natural with this thing and just see how it goes. Okay, I have a point to this story. So I'm committed to the process now. I've said yes to the book. The book is here. I'm out here. Never been on a military base before in my life. Didn't know anybody, have any connections. It was just me and my stuff trying to sell. Okay. When I tell you, once I relaxed and was committed to the process and how I was going to do it, I sold out everything. Okay. I mean, literally no issues. But I always heard, people tell me, you'll know as you go. Because I would always ask, what's my purpose here? Of course, I wanted to sell books. Of course, I wrote the book to have a purpose for people to read it, to get encouraged, to be set free along their own journey. That was my why of writing the book. But I didn't know that my why would meet me there. I didn't know my why was going to meet me at the military bases. Okay. I'm thinking I'm going there to get money. That was not the case. I was able to pray with and talk with so many men and women who were active duty, in the military. They would come by my booth on Monday, buy the book, then come back by Wednesday because they've read it and they have questions. Y'all, that's how it went. I got invited to churches. I've been to churches to speak at churches on Bible study while I was at the military bases. During the tour, I would finish the military bases, go to the churches, speak and sell books some more. My why met me there. So you never know what's going to happen when you say yes. So many people were encouraged, more than I would have thought. I connected with so many people, more than I would have thought. I was literally just going there to get some money. Okay. It is so much bigger than just us, and it's definitely bigger than just getting money. Okay. The Lord did not put me, have a desire for me to write a book so that I can get money. That's a byproduct, but that should not be your sole reason to write a book. Okay. So we have to be fully committed and dedicated to whatever your process looks like for your book. Now, this is my journey, and I'm telling you what happened to me when I first got started. That doesn't mean, you're going to go on a military base, book tour and things like that. That doesn't mean that. You may. And if so, you're going to have a great time, but that doesn't mean that. Okay. Because again, it depends on your book. It depends on your journey, things like that. So when I tell you I had an amazing time on that book tour, I had no idea I was going to end up at several military bases to sell my books. I mean, I would get to the exchange center, and they'll have a big old poster with my pictures on it, with my book pictures on it. I'm like, what? This is wild to me. But that's just a part of the process. Another example was I had an opportunity to be a speaker at an author's cruise. Authors from all over the United States came on a cruise, and I was able to speak to them. I was able to encourage them and teach them a little bit about my journey and my testimony as it relates to being an author. All because I said yes to one book. All because I said yes to writing my testimony in Waiting While You Wait. And at that time, I probably had more than one book. But being wholly dedicated to the process is super important. So don't say, this will never happen to me. We really have to watch our words, because what you down, if you will, and say, oh, that's stupid. Why would she go to military bases? That opportunity probably will never open up for you. We have to watch our words and be open to the process. Again, several things. It's not about you. It's not about getting money. Again, it's a byproduct, so we welcome it, okay? But we have to be submitted and committed to our process and dedicated to our process, because you just never know what doors are going to open because you say yes. So pay attention to those nuggets and those nudges to get you back dedicated to the process. I remember times where I wrote the books, okay? Years had passed. I wrote the books and I was like, yeah, I'm an author. That's cool, whatever. And I just stop posting on Facebook, stop posting on social media, assuming that everybody knew that I was an author, right? And I remember this young lady stopped me at church one day. She said, hey, I haven't seen you post anything about your books lately. That was a gentle nudge. Get back on it, okay? So don't assume people know what you got going on. Okay, don't assume people know that you have written a book. Okay, be committed and wholly dedicated to the process. I'm going to start sharing my books again. I've been so honed in on helping so many other people get launched out and get their books published, which is a great thing. But I too am an author. I need to make sure that I'm promoting my work as well. So we want to be careful as well along this journey, because it will happen for you to get discouraged, or for whatever reason, you may be thinking, well, I had a good high peak when I first got started, when I first launched it, but no one's buying it anymore. You may get discouraged. Well, let me be your encouragement on today to post it again, to tell somebody again, to share your work again, because you do have a why. Don't forget your why. Rehearse your why daily, because if you don't do that, you're going to forget it, and you're going to let discouragement set in, and you're going to stop posting. So I want you to be encouraged on today to be highly dedicated to your journey of authorship, because it is important. People need to hear your words. People need to know what your journey looked like for you, so that you too can be a blessing and an encouragement to them. I do not care what anybody has said to you regarding your book, and in any form or fashion. Oh, it's too small, or it's too long, or no one's going to read that, or whatever the case may be. If the Lord put that desire in you to write that book or write those books, it was a purpose. So I encourage you to share it again. Be committed to your process, whatever that process looks like for you. Whatever door opens up for you, walk through it with confidence, knowing that you're supposed to be there, okay? I'm telling you, I have had so many opportunities, whether I was nervous or feeling insecure about it or not. We want to make sure that we take advantage of the opportunities that our yes gave us, okay? So today we talked about being highly dedicated, which means wholly committed to something, wholly committed to our entrepreneur and authorship journey, okay? We want to make sure that we're saying yes and continue to say yes to our journey of becoming an author. With that being said, I hope you were encouraged on today as it relates to being an author. You guys can do this. It is an amazing journey. I am speaking from experience, which I am still on. Okay. Now, if you are out there, you say, hey, you know what? I haven't even got started yet, but I am so interested in getting my books published. Hey, reach out to Joseph's Ministry. That's why we're here. We're here to help individuals and businesses get to their next level. We want to help you publish your book. So reach out to us at www.josephsministryllc.com. We would love to work with you. I would love to speak with you to help you get to your next level in that. Even with that being said, we do have our upcoming grant award coming up at the end of this quarter, at the end of this month. And I want you guys to share. This is our opportunity to give back to the community for Christ-centered organizations. We want to be a blessing to you. So I want you guys to go to our website at www.josephsministryllc.com. Go to the Grant Foundation tab and submit. If you know an organization who is worthy of this monetary gift, hey, have them submit an application. Okay, we want to be a blessing to you. So you want to make sure that you are counted in that number. God has blessed us, so we want to be a blessing back to you. So guys, thank you so much for joining on today. And next month, we'll talk about another D as it relates to how to become a 3D author. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you next month.